The Klan arrived in Ontario in January 1925 and came to the prairies in the fall of 1926. The King Kleagle, or chief organizer for Saskatchewan, was Lewis A. Scott, who brought along his son Harold and another recruiter named Hugh Findlay Emmons. All hailed from South Bend, Indiana. Emmons set up shop in Moose Jaw. A large, florid man, he spoke with a southern drawl and had a knack for leading people to believe things that were not true without actually telling a lie. He passed himself off as a Canadian, claiming that he was born south of Toronto, without saying how far south. He announced that 40,000 members in Saskatchewan had joined the Klan, which is probably an exaggeration. He said that he left instructions for his wife that when he died, his skin was to be stripped from his body, tanned, and used to cover a drum bearing the Klan insignia, and Klansmen were to beat on the drum when they marched in parades, thereby perpetuating his commitment to the Klan. I haven't been able to find out yet whether his wife followed those instructions, and I'm still looking into where a person goes if you want to tan the hide of your husband. As mentioned earlier, Klan policy was to delay the granting of a charter until a sufficient number of members were signed up. Until that time, all the money collected was paid to the recruiters or sent to head office. As time passed, people in Moose Jaw started to ask questions about where the money was going. On the 17th of September 1927, Emmons and the Scots suddenly fled the province, taking the money with them. Emmons was later put on trial and found not guilty. He produced a contract showing that he had not done anything that he was not entitled to do. The Scots fled to parts unknown and were never heard of again. It was rumored they were trying to organize the Klan in Australia. On the 30th of January 1928, in the debate on the speech from the throne, in this very building, Premier James Gardiner launched an attack on the Klan. He said it had left a trail of bloodshed and lawlessness wherever it had gone. Why had it come to Saskatchewan, he asked, to fight Negroes, Jews, and Catholics. I say to the opposition and anyone else that I, that is Gardiner, as leader of this government, do not want the support of that kind of organization. He gave speeches all across Saskatchewan denouncing the Klan, including the famous Lemberg debate. But the Klan did not die. Quite the opposite. It rallied and grew stronger. It reestablished itself as an independent entity, unaffiliated with any organization outside of the province. It gained energy from Gardiner's attacks, portraying itself as an innocent victim of political persecution. Outside Melfort, Saskatchewan, on the 24th of May, 1928, 3 crosses, 2 measuring 20 feet high and the other 35 feet high, burned brightly against the dark night, visible for miles around. Over 1,200 automobiles were parked around the speaker's platform, and hundreds arrived on foot. A brass band from Prince Albert accompanied the playing of God Save the King and the Maple Leaf Forever. The masked throng stood with heads uncovered and joined in the fervent singing of When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. Such scenes were repeated throughout the province. When the circus is in town, the people want to go. But at a deeper level, the Klan was a response to fear. After the First World War, which had been fought for Canada and the Empire, many were afraid that Saskatchewan was losing its British character. 6 out of every 10 immigrants to Saskatchewan in the late 1920s were non-British, mainly from Central and Eastern Europe. If the trend continued, it was feared that the existing social order would be overturned. The country that British Canadians cherished was slipping through their fingers. There were other fears too. The public school, which was supposed to be the agent of assimilation of newcomers, was perceived to be under attack. According to the School Act, the first school established in a district had to be the public school. Therefore, in districts where Roman Catholics formed the overwhelming majority, the public school was in practice a Catholic school, complete with crucifixes on the walls and teachers in religious garb. Although the Protestant minority in such districts had the right to form a separate school, if there were not enough of them to make this option viable, they had no choice but to send their children to the public school, where they were subjected to Catholic religious influences. Many people in Saskatchewan, and not just supporters of the Klan, felt that something was wrong. They wanted the public school to be free of sectarianism. This issue dominated the provincial election in June 1929. John Diefenbaker, the Conservative candidate in Prince Albert, said that he was not against separate schools, but he was opposed to religious emblems in the public schools. Conservative leader J.T.M. Anderson took the same stand, and he won the election. But Diefenbaker and Anderson denied that they were members of the Klan, and no evidence has surfaced to refute their denials. By the early 1930s, the Klan was a spent force. The Great Depression descended on Saskatchewan. It cost $13 to join the Klan, $10 for the initiation fee, and $3 for the first 3 months' dues. In today's money, that's $160. Money better spent on groceries than paid to a real-life version of the Wizard of Oz. The economic downturn brought a halt to immigration, quelling fears that the country was being overrun by foreigners. The election of the Anderson government took the edge off some of the issues the Klan exploited. It passed a law banning religious emblems from the public schools. Equally important, ordinary citizens took a stand. H. Gordon Houghton, an Anglican and conservative, wrote the Corrobert Citizen, describing the Klan as a rotten movement which has crept into our midst to sever old friendships. Mrs. Margaret Wilkinson of Moose Jaw testified at Emmons' trial, "I do not have to go to the Ku Klux Klan to be told by an American what our law and flag stands for." Soon after the 1929 election, which is supposedly the most divisive in Saskatchewan history, Mr. S.A. Paquette of Rosetown honored a bet that he had made with Mr. J.R. Winter. On a busy Saturday evening, Paquette transported his friend in a wheelbarrow down the middle of the main street. Paquette had bet that the Liberals would win, and Winter had bet that the Conservatives would win. So Winters won the bet. The barrow was especially decorated for the occasion, and Winter smiled and doffed his hat to the crowds on either side, while Paquette looked for bumps in the road to give his passenger a jolt. In that brief moment, we see Saskatchewan's answer to cross-burning and hate-mongering. We see the spirit of tolerance and understand why in this province the Klan was but a fleeting phenomenon. Thank you.